Good morning and welcome back to the channel. I'm doing my lockdown dog walk and I brought the camera with me, and I'm actually in a field about half a mile from the house on my normal walk round, and it's about 5:30 in the morning, and as you can see behind me, the sun is above the horizon, but it's not above the little hill just across the valley from us here. What I'm hoping to do today is use a very long lens, i.e. my 100 to 400, and compress the distance involved and try to capture the layering that's going on between the trees in the distance, in the middle ground and closer in on the edge of the field here, with the beautiful glow of the sun as it's starting to come up behind the hill behind us. So let's get on with it and see how we get on. Well, as you can see, I've got the telephoto lens on, currently at about 200 millimeters, and I'm framing up a tree on the opposite side of the field and a series of trees going off to the top of the hill in the distance, and I'm waiting for the pink glow to happen that's slowly developing as the sun's rising. So I'll take one shot just to cover my options in case the rest don't work, because you never know with this sort of thing. So what's that? That is exposure compensation of 0, no, minus 0.7, because I'm just getting clipping in the sky because the sky is getting brighter. F13 and a 13th of a second. And we need a 2-second timer because it's always a good thing to have. If I can get it to work, 2 seconds. That's not quite framed properly. Let's just pull that back a bit there. And I've got the exposure mode set wrongly. It needs to be highlight protection, which is this one. So that's now massively underexposed. And I'll just pull that back a bit. So we've got +3 compensation, 30th of a second, F13, 200 millimeters. And said 2-second timer, and there we have it, that shot. As the sun comes up, I'll take a couple more shots. I'm hoping that the sky will develop more from here. Ozzy's looking at the fence in strange fashion, wondering why I'm stood here rather than walking, but we'll be walking again in a few minutes, so let's see how it develops. Well, I just had to rush then, because just as the sun was starting to come up over the horizon through the trees on the far hill over there, which is probably blown out on this image now that I'm showing you, it was just creeping into the frame and I had to rush like nobody's business. I didn't get time to set the camera up, this vlogging camera, to actually talk you through it, but that was stunning just as the sun was coming up through the trees on the distant hill. I took about 4 shots quite tightly in vertical format. The idea being that I framed the tree on the right hand side of the frame and the sun coming up in the sort of upper left third of the frame, just as it was creeping through and not blowing out the highlights, which of course it's completely doing now. It's a matter of seconds to do it, but I took about 4 shots, exposure blend them together when I get back home, because I wanted the detail in the foreground, so I blew out all the sky to get the detail in the foreground. And I also did a couple of quite dark frames as well to ensure the sun wasn't blown out, and hopefully with a little bit of care and attention I should be able to pull all that together. But if I show you on the back of the camera what it's looking like, I'll show you the frame, the last frame that I took. Let's just swing that round. I'll just cycle through them. That's the bright frame to actually pull in the details in the foreground, and then a series of shots with the sun creeping through the distant tree line. So I'm really quite hopeful that when I get back I'll be able to pull those together into an image that looks quite interesting. It's not going to win any awards or anything like that, but for a quick early morning shot carrying the camera sort of half a mile from the house on the dog walk, I'm quite pleased with that. So back to the studio and let's see what I turn it into.
Well, as you can see, I've got some quite pleasant images here. That one's a little bit over sharpened, but the final image wasn't too bad. I think it's lovely the way the sun's just sort of peeking through the trees on the distant hill. And I didn't even notice that there's actually the church on the far hill. This is another shot I took on the way back. The tree was lit up by the morning sun and the trees in the distance. It really made quite a pleasant picture. Thank you very much for watching. If you like this video, please give it the thumbs up, and please also subscribe so that you get notified when I upload new videos.